Welcome to the nation of Sembia, a land where wealth and power intertwine, and the fate of the nation rests in the hands of its merchant elite. Here, in this prosperous eastern corner of Faerun, the art of the deal is as revered as any sword, and coin is the currency of influence. Beyond the borders of Sembia looms the sovereign kingdom of Cormyr, a rigid system of lords and kings. The people of Cormyr rely on Sembia for goods, and Sembia relies on Cormyr for its connection to Western Faerun. All that aside, our story, a tale of drama and betrayal and good old-fashioned D&D fun, opens in the small Sembian coastal village of Selgaunt. Let's begin. Welcome to the nation of Sembia, a land where wealth and power intertwine, and the fate of the nation rests in the hands of its merchant elite. Here, in this prosperous eastern corner of Faerun, the art of the deal is as revered as any sword, and coin is the currency of influence. The heart of Sembia's power lies within the Gilded Gates, an opulent enclave where the 12 most powerful merchant families have their estates. Textiles, spices, jewelry, weaponry, mercenary, artists, arcana, scribanry, advancement, bestiary, entertainment, and agriculture. These are the 12 guilds that pillar the Sembian society, each one controlling a vital aspect of the nation's commerce. Each year, the heads of these 12 guilds come together to elect a king from amongst their rank. This ruler holds the title for 1 year only, tasked with guiding Sembia through the ever-shifting tides of politics and trade. This year, the crown rests on the brow of Aemon Silrora, the half-elf leader of the Bestiary Guild. Aemon is a figure of both respect and controversy. She came to power with a vision beyond the traditional alliances. Her efforts to strengthen ties with the artists and advancement guilds, those who craft the nation's culture and drive its technological processes, have sparked unease, and discontent festers in the shadows among the more conservative of her colleagues. Beyond the borders of Sembia looms the sovereign kingdom of Cormyr, a rigid system of lords and kings. The people of Cormyr rely on Sembia for goods, and Sembia relies on Cormyr for its connection to Western Faerun. All that aside, our story opens in the small Sembian coastal village of Selgaunt. The sun is high in the mid-afternoon sky, casting long shadows across this bustling merchant town. The air is thick with the mingling scents of spices and sea salt and the faint earthy aroma of the distant rolling hills. The rhythmic clatter of hooves on cobblestones, the shouts of traders haggling over exotic goods, and the murmur of sea waves against the docks fill the air. This is a place where gold speaks louder than words, and secrets are traded as often as wares. You find yourselves in the heart of this coastal village, Merchants Square, they call it, where once a week, merchants from surrounding hills and beyond set up shop to peddle their wares. Rumors of political intrigue, whispers of rebellion, and tales of ancient magic swirl around you like the salty breeze, enticing and foreboding all at once. Now, if anyone has a D24, will they please roll it?
4.
A 4?
Yep.
All right. So we begin our story in the Merchant Square, specifically in a small tent at the back corner. Over the head of the tent glows a small sign, Lox's Treasured Trinkets. It's a small but eclectic shop tucked inside this tent. The front shelves are filled with an array of curious items, glowing crystals, ornate lockets, ancient scrolls, and a delicate silver orb that seems to pulse with an inner light. Inside, the shop is dimly lit, the shelves and tables crowded with trinkets and treasures from all corners of Faerun. The air is filled with the scent of aged parchment and exotic incense, and soft, almost musical chimes seem to ring out whenever a customer touches one of the items. The shop has a maze-like quality with narrow aisles leading to hidden rock nooks and crannies where the rarest items are displayed. Despite the clutter, though, everything is meticulously organized and each item labeled in neat, precise handwriting. Now, we start with a figure wandering the aisles of this store. Mal, would you like to share what you look like?
Oh, I go by Kai.
You go by Kai?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I will switch that. I appreciate that. Okay. Kai, would you like to share what you look like?
Yes. Um, I don't think any of y'all are there, but if you were, you would see a red tiefling, bit of a scraggly beard, um, kind of just got the clothes on his back, not much else, and kind of looking around, almost not quite absent-minded, but probably a little not fully there in the moment.
All right. Well, as you wander the aisles of Lox's treasured trinkets, you see bookshelves, you see displays with behind glass with fancy, ornate-looking, strange objects. Um, as you make your way through this maze, you make your way to the front, and there's a counter there, behind which stands the proprietor of Lox's treasured trinkets, Yus Lox. Now, he's a large, bulking figure, dressed in a slightly worn purple vest over an off-white tunic and trousers. Around his neck hangs a delicate silver chain with a small, intricate pendant that seems to be carved from stone. He spoke to you briefly when you walked in, and his voice was gruff yet melodic. You see on the counter he's just sitting there working, seems to be polishing some sort of dagger. You're not entirely sure. And along the wall behind his front counter is a huge bulletin board with pages upon pages and papers. But one catches your eye. One of these papers hanging up on the bulletin board because you've seen it before. You see a small graphite sketch of what looks to be a little tiefling girl's face with the huge words above it missing. You see this sketch. She seems to be around 5, 6-ish. And the words Sava Lux, brown hair, violet eyes, daughter of Tan and Calric's Locks. Um, there's actually quite a few copies of this particular poster hanging up. As you wander the stalls, as you look at the counter, is there anything you would like to do in here?
Um, no, I'm just gonna keep looking around, kind of stare at that for a little bit, and I'm gonna talk to what did you say the name of the person behind the desk was?
Gus. Juss.
Just. I'm just gonna kind of look at him and go, any news about or how much do you know about the stuff on the bulletin board?
I mean, the anything in particular?
Uh, the missing child.
You see he pauses. He hadn't looked up, but he pauses now and puts the dagger down. Gives a large sigh. Um, that's my niece. She went missing about a week ago. No news.
Um, I'm sorry. Um,
Appreciated.
is there any information that you can give? I'm looking for work. I don't really have much else to do, so I can be on the lookout or where she was or any leads.
Appreciate it, but the enforcers seem to be on top of everything. If you see
Okay.
anything though, um, here he pulls down one of the pages and slides it across her, and he scribbles a small address at the bottom. Her parents, my sister, brother-in-law.
All right.
You
Well,
see, he seems to be a little more low key than when you first walked in. The somber topic hits him hard. Obviously, his niece is gone, um, but he's just kind of going about his day. Been a week.
Um, Sorry, I'm more browsing than shopping, so I don't think I'm going to do any actual business here today. But
Well,
you have a wonderful shop.
much appreciated. Come back if you find yourself here next week. Um, and as he says that, you see actually a small ringing comes across the shop, and he turns to face the entrance, and you see another figure stride in. Um, Treos, would you like to describe what he sees?
So walking in is kind of, I wouldn't say similar, bulky figure, but he's got a bit of heft to his body, some muscle underneath his shirt and his jacket. You're looking at kind of a lion-ish guy walk through. His mane is a dark purple, but it has tinges of a pink or a rose in his mane and different corners around the tips. And his fur is like a dark tinge gray, hues of violets shimmering through. His outfit is a bit well dressed, to say the least. Looks like someone business, but more so entertainer in a way. Right now, his jacket, which is usually purple, he doesn't have on right now because he wanted to stay a little more low key. So it's just more of a white button down shirt as he walks in.
Nice. So as you walk in, you wait for the small musical tinkling to fade away, and Yus straightens, turns over. Oh, welcome to Yus's Treasured Trinkets. If I can help you with anything, come find me.
Yes, yes. Well, this is a wonderful shop. It's been the first that I've
Thank
seen all these kind of odds and bits. Many, many cool and interesting things. Say, can you have a second to talk? Once you're done with your customer, yeah, that's okay.
We were just finishing up. Unless you had anything else.
No,
Well,
no, sir.
appreciate your business. Come back if you can. Um, you see, um, he tucks the dagger underneath the desk and uh brushes down his purple vest. What can I do for you?
See, I just want to inquire some information. Still a little new around here. I kind of been here and there traveling and doing some odds and ends helping people out. But I was wondering if anything has gone missing recently.
He looks at the 6 missing girl signs behind him, but
Um, oh,
turns back.
apologies. Sorry, I didn't know. Um, but I was wondering if something more, I don't know how to say this, more of a weapon or object, perhaps?
He leans back a little. a a specific object. Did you lose it, or are you looking for?
Yes, yeah. Well, a compatriot of mine seemed to have misplaced it, or had a feeling that someone else's. It's kind of like diddles his fingers. He had like rubbing mitts on it that he didn't want anyone else touching.
I believe I know. I know the information you seek. Um, but I can't give it to you here.
He just
He
tilts his
slides.
head a bit, like,
He slides a small sheet of paper over. Um, it appears to be blank, but he folds it up, passes it over to you.
I just kind of, with the same hand I have my coat in, kind of cover up where it is on the counter and grab the letter in one swift motion.
As you go to grab it, you hear a loud, raucous noise coming from outside the tent. And at that moment, you see 3 large armored figures. They throw open the tent covers. One of them strides forward. Locks. Yes, Locks. And he straightens, he turns. Yes. You are under arrest for the kidnapping of Sava Locks. And at that point, as they wrap around him, he immediately flings the top of the counter up and strides out towards the back of the tent. Now, Kai, are you gone from the tent at this point?
I think I would have kept looking around,
Okay.
but I probably would either be just outside the tent or like on the way out of the tent.
Okay. So you see as he pushes past you, running out into the square. At that point, Treos, the enforcers turn to you. One of them, the one steps forward. He gestures the other two, nodding them towards them, and they take off after Yus into the town square. But Treos, he turns towards you. He goes, "Don't move. You stay there," and runs after them.
Oh, just tells me to stay in and runs after.
Just tells you to stay and runs after.
Trails as soon as he runs away, like he drops any like stoic face he had, and he's like almost cowering at what could have just gone wrong.
At that point, we're going to jump scenes. So the Merchant Square is bustling, but slightly quieter at this point in the day. It's the soft sound of voices drift in and out of tents. People meander. Kids are playing around. Rice. As you turn the corner into what appears to be the main section of the square with these large tents, you hear a loud ruckus sound. And at that point, you see one of the tents in the back corner, the flaps burst open, and a large tiefling figure stumbling out, running straight towards you. Behind him are 2 huge enforcers shouting, "Stop! Stop!" And everyone's clearing out of the way. He seems to be making a beeline straight for you.
Yeah, so Reese is standing there. He's got a hood up and he's got a mask pulled over his nose. He's wearing a very basic, just kind of black tunic with some blues and reds and a really tattered, looks like it was once fancy, but it's pretty tattered coat with a similar like red, purple. And you can see a little bit of a thick like plume of hair sticking out of his tunic and out of the sleeves of his arm. And he's got these he's very from what you can see, he's got very like stoic facial features. And he's looking at this man running at him, and he sees the enforcers, and he just kind of steps out of the way as well, like slinks into the crowd, kind of steps out of the way.
All right. At this point, as he steps out of the way, you go to move out of the way of this figure barreling down towards you. At which point, you make it mostly out of the way, but his shoulder clips you, and he stumbles, and you see his necklace comes loose, tum, 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 tumbles to the stones, rolling away into the crowd. At that point, he stumbles and he trips, and the enforcers are able to catch up to him, and they drag him upwards. And there's shouting, there's noise, there's murmuring. People know who this is, and they start dragging him back towards the tent. You're still slinking back into the crowd?
I'm gonna move towards where I saw the necklace last.
Okay. It's relatively easy to find. The crowd here isn't numerous. It's not people swarming this area, and you're able to see this small silver glinting pendant lying on the ground. It looks to be a strange swirling shape, almost like a circle with tendrils coming out of it and then swirling up into a point, carved from stone, but a stone you've never recognized.
I'm gonna take like a piece of cloth or something and like nonchalantly walk up, pick it off the ground, and put it in my pocket and just keep walking.
Okay. And you're walking towards the tent, away from the tent, or towards the merchant square, away from the merchant square? Where are you going?
Probably towards the where he's being dragged, but I kind of want to stay away from the main path. Like I want to see if I can catch what they're saying, but I don't want to be seen by him or the enforcers.
Okay. You see, at this point, people start curious at the sound coming out of the tents, gathering, murmuring. You hear people whispering, yes, and talking about, from what you can gather, um, his missing niece, and you're able to piece together just as you walk through the crowd. People are like, "Him? Oh my goodness, did they find him? Whoa, what drama?" But at that point, you see as the two enforcers haul him up in front of the third, who steps forward and, grabbing him by the throat, slams him up against one of the poles holding up the tent. You can't hear what he says, but he's saying something. Kai, you hear him as you're standing pretty close to where you just left his tent. You hear as he growls, "Where is she? Where?" And Yas like, I don't know. I didn't do any. I don't know where she is. At that point, Treos, are you staying in the tent or are you wandering out?
I am still in the tent, but wherever the guards are kind of like facing just I kind of just want to be like eschewed from the action, like maybe next to like another counter where other trinkets are, just not directly facing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you can hear all of this commotion outside. It's a tent. You can hear everything that's going on. You can also tell that they seem to be right up against the side of the main entrance where the counter is. So you can tuck yourself around a corner, not like you're hiding, but like you're a little blocked by a couple beams, maybe a shelf here or there, so you can listen. Um, from what you can gather, they have accused Yuslox of kidnapping his niece, and he claims to not have anything to do with it. At this point, the interrogation goes on for a minute or so. Neither is budging. He claims innocence. They claim to know that he did it. And after a moment, Kai, you watch as, growling, they basically lift him up and drag him off down the streets, presumably towards wherever the criminals of Selgon are kept. As they disappear around a corner of a tent, the crowd almost releases this strange tension it was holding as it watched in silence, and a murmur of voices grows into a cacophony of questions, and you hear the news almost as a wave as it travels through the crowd until pretty much the entire merchant square seems to be watching their disappearing backs down the street. Is I leave the day up to you. You have shops to visit. You have people to talk to. You have a whole empty Lox's treasured trinkets. What would you like to do? Anyone?
I am going to walk up the Treos.
Okay, so as you peel up the corner of Lox's tent and slip back inside, you see Treos tucked against the side of the counter, just seeming to not be paying attention, but clearly has an ear perked for what's going on. Treos.
As soon as Kai would have noticed me and I locked eyes with him, I almost jumped back instinctively, like, ah! And then immediately go back to my composed form, brush my mane back, like, have I seen you before? You were here earlier, weren't you?
Yes, you passed by me when you walked in.
Right. You were talking to Just a little earlier.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going on?
Other than probably about the same as you, if I'm being honest. I asked him about the missing signs up there. It's his niece, and supposedly he did it, kidnapped
Hmm.
her.
Well,
I couldn't hear the conversation. Did they say any of the evidence, or just claim that they knew that he did it?
from little bits I've heard, nothing much. They just said he did it and carried him off to who knows where. Friend, by chance, what's your name?
The name is Kai.
Guy.
Yourself?
Trails, and it just elegantly rolls out his hand to a gentle handshake.
I'll shake it with a firm but not like too pressurous.
As soon as you do the
I don't know
handshake,
if
like
that's a
he
word,
like
but
tenses a little bit, like thank you, thank you. Um, I guess after a little exchange, Trails kind of looks around the shop, and I kind of want to go back towards the counter that
Mhm.
just had jumped over earlier to see if there was, I guess, any notes, letters, and such in the back corner.
You see around in the back corner of the shop or around the counter
About
in the
the
front.
counter first, and then I might check the back of the shop.
Okay. So the counter, it's pretty easy. It's basically just a wooden crate with a large slab of what seems to be ornate and ancient oiled wood on top. You see the dagger he was polishing. But looking at the rag, you notice that the rag itself seems to shimmer with a strange woven thread that glimmers in the soft light. And as he was swiping it across the dagger picked up a little bit of that shimmer. Um, you see he has a ledger where all of his sales are neatly penned. He only has a couple logs in from today. You see underneath in a small shelf around the back of the corner, there's a heavy leather journal as well as what looks to be a locked cash box. And that's pretty much all that's up here. There's the huge wall of sheets and pages. There's job ads. There's a posting for the local theater and the play they're putting on. There's local notices of fire warnings or floods. They seem to be just piled on as they go, and as you lift one up, another flyer is underneath, and another flyer. Nothing is taken off this board as it
Mm-hmm.
goes. It's just piled on and on. So there's things dating back to as early as 3 years ago, and things as recent as the missing child poster. Um, there's it's other than that, it's a generally plain, clean area. You can wander towards the back of the shop, though.
Um, Before I do that, um, I'm living up to my class. Can I pocket the cloth and the dagger that he was messing with earlier?
Absolutely.
So I just kind of slip my
Do
coat
you
back
want to
on.
hide what you're doing from Kai? Because Kai is standing right there, I believe.
Uh, hey Kai, do you see that counter over there by the? And I just kind of point to like the opposite side of the tent, the opposite side of the tent wall. See if there's like any odd trinkets and such. Like, have you seen any of those before? I'm a little new around this town, but I swear it looks familiar, but I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Let me go stand over close to it and avert my gaze.
Okay, and I'll pocket the cloth and the dagger in my coat. So like I put my coat back on and slide the dagger in the cloth.
Since Kai was so obliging, I won't even make you roll for it.
No, I don't recognize any of these trinkets over here.
I don't know why. It looked like something back from home, but yeah, I could be mistaken. Anyway, I just hop over the counter, start walking to Kai. Should we go around town, see if anyone else knows what's going on?
Um, dungeon person. What is like the town that we're in? Would I know if it has like a reputation of being like if the guard is like corrupt or like not trustworthy or anything like that? Is there any like reputation that I know of?
There's no major reputation. It's a very small town. Um, Most of the people actually in the Merchant Square where you are right now are from out of town because it seems to be the hub, think the main farmers market of the local area. Um, the actual population of the town is no bigger than a couple hundred people. Everyone knows everyone. There's no reputation for a corrupt guard, but it seems an event such as a missing child in a town of 400 people rocks the entire town. So you can assume that the guard, despite not necessarily being corrupt, are going to be very, very
Protective?
determined. Yes, very protective, very determined to find that child. Um, they don't have any history of criminality. It's not a particularly dangerous town. There's people are comfortable walking out at night. It's all, for all intents and purposes, a town no one would think twice about.
And I will ask you as well. When I was talking with him about the missing child earlier, did he seem genuinely distraught, or do I think that there was a chance that he was faking it? Looking back on it, not in the moment, but like me thinking now.
Roll um a retroactive insight for me. It's just an insight check. I think this is the first roll of the game.
Yeah.
Stinky, dirty, poo poo 20.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he was very low energy, and it didn't seem to be from a lack of interest. It more seemed to be from the fact that he has spent, as far as you can tell, the last week worrying about the entire situation. Um, he didn't seem as distraught as maybe you would expect, or maybe as her parents definitely would be, but he was worn down. He looked like he hadn't slept well. He had deep circles under his eyes, and when he spoke, there was a genuine affection and love in his voice when he spoke about the girl.
All that in mind, I'm now going to respond to Treos' question. Let's see. I don't know. You want to see what it is here? It's interesting they didn't search his abode here or his place of work, but I think there might be extra information here, and then we can go searching about.
Now that you mention it, it's a bit odd. Okay, I'm up for it.
So you're searching the shop.
Yeah, just behind uh the counter and everything. You said there's further back that we could go.
Yes, so the actual flap of the tent opens up into this theoretically large-ish space, but when you walk in, right to your right is this counter and this bulletin board, and the rest of the shop expands outwards in twisty, turny aisles. They seem to be very thin and piled very high. So you're heading your way back into the back, towards the back of the shop. As you walk through the aisles, are you following the same aisle, spreading out, exploring different areas?
I myself am going to get to a kind of like central area back here,
Okay.
and I'm going to use magic awareness. So it's with my subclass of barbarian. I can
Mm-hmm.
open my awareness to the presence of concentrated magic, and so it's basically just detect magic. I can know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet of me that isn't behind total cover.
Ooh, okay. So the first thing you notice is that there's there are many, many, many magical items in this shop. From what you can tell, Can you see the magnitude of magic?
I can see when I sense. No, that's for when I sense a spell. No, it just says that I know the location of any spell or magic item.
Okay. Um, so yeah, you notice how does it look when you cast a spell? What do you see when you see a magical item?
I think that so to describe it to what Treo sees, Cal just kind of, or not Cal, Kai just kind of comes out into the middle, just kind of closes his eyes, takes a deep breath. But what Kai sees is kind of just like a aura go throughout the room or the hallway or whatever it is, and like almost like in his mind, there's just like a mist that's covering a dark expanse, and that mist just kind of lingers around whatever magic is magical.
So in your mind, you see this heavy mist settle over the store, and then as you wait, it slowly swirls and coagulates and dissipates, and you see it collecting in small little clumps around various trinkets around the various aisles. In the back, there's a large work table with it seems to be pages strewn everywhere, paper, ink, and you see it gathered around a few of the ink bottles on the table. You see on one corner a large towering bookshelf on which a couple of the spines seem to be collecting this mist. So there are quite a few magical items in this shop. You're not sure how dangerous, you're not sure how useful they are. It seems to be sometimes some of the trinkets are daggers or books. Some of them seem to be little toy whistles, things that you wouldn't expect to be magical, but it's a huge eclectic array.
Hmm. I'm just gonna, after doing this, I'm just gonna, not quite a whisper, but say to Treos, do be careful. There's magic back here.
Treo's eyes just widen a little bit, and he says, "Oh, duly noted." And we just tread carefully as we walk through.
Yeah. So as you walk through, you can make your way through the large eclectic aisles. You can make your way towards the bookshelf. You can make your way to the back workbench. Entirely up to you.
I'm going to go to the workbench.
Okay. You see, in contrast to the neatly organized and stacked counter at the front, this workbench is a huge, messy jumble of pages and scribblings in some in common, some in languages that you recognize but maybe can't understand. You see a discarded pen just scattered in a few ink droplets, almost as if it was dropped in a hurry. And along the back, there's four little ink bottle droppers. Um, Underneath the workbench is another shelf that seems to be piled high with what looks to be journals. And that's that right after the workbench, it hits the back wall of the tent.
I'll kind of head over to the workbench and kind of browse through the journals, see if
Yeah.
anything. Um,
Most, yeah.
yeah, I guess like look for anything that talks about how he's feeling about his niece going missing or any of the other missing people.
The thing you notice when you go to the journals, you open the first one and you flip through the pages, and it's empty. You go to the second one, it's empty. The third one, you flip through all seven or so of these journals, and they all seem to be empty.
Uh, well, that doesn't make any sense. That just seems like a waste of paper. And just kind of, Travis is tilting the book around, see if he can catch the light on it, trying to see any little faint writing. And then just kind of shows the book over to Kai and says, "Can you make sense of any of this? And can you read this?"
I assume my magic awareness would still be up. Do I get any magical sense from the journal?
You see this mist that swirled and coagulated. You see it spreading in small, almost script-shaped dots across the page.
There is writing. It's just not available to us.
Not. What do you mean by that?
It's
Like,
concealed.
so there's. Hmm. So
I
how do
said there
you?
was magic.
So there's a magic that's hiding it, and even if you can see it, you can't read it. Hmm. Well, I don't know if this will be any use to us. And I just kind of chucked the book over to Kai, see if he can catch it and hold on to it for us.
I'm just going to put it in my bag.
All right. You tuck away the one journal. The rest of them lay scattered on the bottom shelf, but the pages on top of the desk also seem to be mostly empty, with a few splatters of blue and purple ink here and there. You see the four little ink bottles. One of them's blue, one of them's purple, one of them's the standard black, and one of them seems to be some strange clear liquid. Um, but that's the extent of this backwork area.
Do I get the feeling that anything else here might be important?
Well, the ink bottles themselves have little swirls of magic awareness mist, but other than that, it's
I will
relatively.
say I looked at the ability and it's only until a next turn, so I assume that it's only like a couple seconds of it looking back
Mhm.
on it.
That's all you're gonna notice then, magic awareness wise. But the rest of this space, there's nothing really else of interest here unless you want to go deep into investigation.
Mm, not right now.
Okay.
Um, I will.
At that point, oh
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. No,
no,
before we
no,
head
no, go
out,
for it.
I will just kind of keep looking at the journals a little bit, and then I like carefully look over towards the bottle of inks, and just for fun, he's just gonna dip his finger in one of the like dip a tip of his finger in one of the colored inks. Like you said, it was blue and purple.
Blue, purple, clear, and black.
Blue, purple, clear, and black. He's gonna dip his finger in like the purple ink, just look at it a bit, pull it out, and then like dip it in the clear ink, just for fun.
And that is how Treos dies. No, just joking. Um, yeah, so you dip it in the blue ink. It feels very ink consistency. You pull it out, and the tip of your finger is now stained with blue ink that drips. Um, you move over to the clear ink and dunk your finger in. It tingles a little, but you pull it back out, and you just see the blue ink.
Yeah. Okay. Just wipes his finger on the desk a little bit, and then I guess just starts to walk off.
Smears across one of the pages.
Yeah.
At that point, I think, Reese, you raised your hand with something you wanted to do, yeah?
Yeah, I would like to head towards the tent.
Okay. As you make your way towards the tent, the crowd sort of returned back to normal, and you follow the path towards where they arrested Juice from. Um, yeah, you can step into the tent, and you hear Kai and Treos. You hear a slight musical tinkle through the air as another figure pushes aside the tent flap and ducks in.
Oh, another friend. Hey, are you planning to do any shopping? Anything we can help you out with?
I'm just gonna look right at him and just no, no.
Oh, then what
And
can we
I'm
help
just
you
gonna
with
like
today?
just gonna walk to somewhere in the front area and just start kind of rummaging around, seeing if I don't really know what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna see because I didn't hear any of the conversation. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
start rummaging behind the counter,
Okay.
seeing if I see
You
anything important.
roll investigation for me. Let's see if you see anything further than they did.
14.
14. Okay. Well, you see the large bulletin board splattered with Sava's face and other little job ads and things like that. You see the journal and the cash box. You see the ledger with all of the sales or lack thereof. And with a 14, you don't seem to see anything else.
Okay.
This counter area is very much for show, where he stands to entertain customers. But it doesn't seem to be an area where he would keep anything personal. Um, I will ask though, what is your passive perception?
Not great. 11.
Okay, that's all you see.
Okay.
What are Treos and Kai? What are your passive perceptions? Just so that I know for the future.
12.
12.
13.
Okay. 11, 12, 13.
Yeah,
All
that's it.
right. Yeah, so that's all you notice there. Treos and Kai, you see this figure duck in and immediately start shuffling about behind the counter. Um, he doesn't seem to find anything new, anything different, and the dagger and cloth are safely tucked away into your pocket. Um,
I just make that off comment. It's like, oh, we don't have another shopper. And then and then I want to use thieves' cant and in like a separate, kind of like in their secret language to say, I guess we got a, I guess we got a thief coming around here then.
I will respond in Thieves' Cant and go, not a thief, I'm just a traveler.
Oh, fair, fair, fair. Well, friend, and is back in common. Well, friend, if there's anything we can help you with, feel free to ask. We'd be happy to help.
Um, so I'm sure you guys saw the commotion, and I'm gonna take the cloth out of my pocket that had Juice's necklace in
Are you
it.
still speaking
And
in Thieves' Cant?
no,
Yeah, we're
common.
back in common.
Good.
You
I'm
just
gonna
basically
set,
heard gibberish, and it was like,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna set Juice's necklace down on the counter with the cloths, like the cloth under it. And then also I'm gonna set down a potion bottle that is full of some mysterious liquid, and I'm gonna set these two things down on the counter. You guys know anything about these?
at that point, as you move closer, Kai, with your 13 passive perception, you notice as both of you move up to this counter, you notice a small shadow move, seeming to be of someone standing outside the tent, just move around the tent closer to the counter. But you two, as you walk up to the counter, you see resting on it the same strange pendant that was around Joseph's neck. And a purple swirly potion bottle about palm size that seems to be a regular potion bottle, but you could look closer.
I'm going to say, "Shh, there's someone else."
At that point, Treo's ears just kind of perk up a little bit. He seems a little alarmed, but tries to remain composed, and his voice will go down to a whisper. Wow, what did you notice? Just kind of whisper to Kai.
I'm just going to say, shadows.
Mm-hmm. Treos just nods, kind of nudges, kind of just nudges Rise a little bit, and say, yeah, we might have company, more friends.
I'm gonna draw my short sword and get out from behind the counter as quietly as possible and see if I can see the shadows that
When
I that Kai may or may not have pointed out, but he at least mentioned.
Now that Kai pointed out, you do see the moving shadow, but as you move out from around the counter, it freezes. And then it seems the person takes a step away from the tent. And the shadow disappears. You wait there in silence for a moment, the sounds of the market muffled by the tent flaps. At which point you hear a slight rattle, and all three of your gazes go straight to the potion bottle on the counter. It rattles again. It starts to rock back and forth before its rattling becomes a violent shaking, and it rolls right off the table onto the ground, the cork shooting off with a sharp pop, releasing a cloud of shimmering mist, and from the swirling vapors, Felix, would you like to explain what they see?
Oh, that was amazing. I You see, stepping out of the mist, there's this like you see a blue-skinned moon elf with white hair just that's been like comically like got up in different directions, and he's got these goggles that are askew. He's wearing a thick leather apron with like a ton of different like stains on it. Oh my God. Well, okay. So first I was like, "Ooh," and then I put a little bit of this in there and a little bit of that, and I thought, oh, that'll work pretty well.
I,
And then
while he's talking, I am going to walk up to him, put my hand over his mouth, and like put my arm around his neck.
this, this isn't Bert's shop. Whoa. And he's gonna just see all the trinkets, but this is all muffled. And he's gonna start trying to walk over to the trinkets.
No,
You're not gonna let him?
no.
Hi.
Just
Hello.
Is it still muffled?
Yeah.
I have not made a single sound. My mouth is wide open, just shocked at what just happened, and still trying to process everything, just remaining quiet.
Wow, this place is great. This is crazy. Who are you guys?
um,
My name's Felix.
Rise, we can talk about this later.
Kai is going to slowly try and make his way outside to where the shadow would have been.
Okay. Roll stealth for me.
And
10. You three see as Kai inches towards not the front of the tent, but you see a small little slit in the side of the tent over where the shadow was. You make your way over there quietly and lift it and poke your head out. You see the usual milling crowd out in the merchant's quarter. Nothing strange strikes you. No one is standing right next to the tent, listening or eavesdropping. But that's all you see. You don't see anything unusual.
I'll come back and say, they're gone.
Who's gone?
I don't know how you got here. I don't know what that was. I just need you to not talk for a little bit, okay?
Well, why would I not talk? That doesn't make any sense.
You just come at a very bad time.
Okay. Is he still being held on to?
Yeah. I have not let him go. He's still muffled and grappled.
I will say at that point then you see just a little bit of you see a little bit of a quick hand movement. Um and you feel like a little gust of something going past you, and suddenly you hear footsteps probably like further back in the counter, or like further in the shop. And you hear things starting to crack, like be like knocked off the as and like an object will get lifted up and then just tossed away, as I've casted invisible unseen servant, and he is now looking through the shop.
Yeah, so the unseen servant can go through the shop, go through the shelves. Um, there's various bits and bobs. You see on one shelf seems to be a tiny little replica of a children's rocking horse that never stops, just going keeps rocking back and forth. On another shelf, you find a small, what looks to be a candle, but made out of some strange black stone, and a little purple light flickers from it. You see a bookshelf in the back corner with books of various shapes and sizes, some of them children's books, some large research tomes, some in languages that you don't know. Your unseen servant wanders the shelves, but you are still held by Reese.
I I don't know what you did. Um, but all we're asking you is to be quiet.
Didn't say anything. You said I couldn't speak. You didn't say I had to be quiet.
Can you make it stop?
Well, he kind of does what he wants.
It's too late at this point. They're gone. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna let him go.
Okay, so cool. I'm gonna sprint over. You said there was like an orb, a little bauble orb.
Yeah, there's a little bauble orb. It seems to be made out of some clear glass, and inside it seems to sort of swirl and move. Is it Felix going over there, or the unseen servant going over there?
I feel like as soon as Felix was released, he bolted. He's bolting over there.
Yeah, so he can pick up the little ball, and and he sees inside the ball, in the liquid in the ball, is another little glass ball that seems to almost move and float as he moves it around. It doesn't seem to be magical. It just looks really, really cool.
This must be another one of those dragon orbs I always hear about. As I pull out a second orb that I have that you can see is like a glass orb that looks like it has like glitter been put into it. Oh, this is the most incredible day. And he's going to try to pocket both orbs.
I mean, you can.
It's clearly an unmagical fake, just like you know.
Has little kids glitter glue inside it. Yeah. Yeah, you can take the orb.
Do you guys mind if I take this? I mean, I don't want to like take from you guys, but I also don't have any money right now. But I can pay you back if you want. I just need to go to Bart. Bart can probably give me my allowance.
It's not our things. They're not.
Oh, I'm
This
so
is not our.
sorry. It's yours then? And as I point to the lion,
I, I, I'm sorry. Little man. You just came out of a bottle I just saw,
well,
and the
yeah, but
first thing
that's
you wanted
just.
to
I
do
mean,
was grab. I'm sorry. What's a dragon orb? Like, what are you? Trails is completely just confused about the whole interaction that just happened. Like, he was on high alert once. Now all of a sudden someone just appeared out of nowhere. Like, he has no idea where to draw his attention to.
okay, well, the dragon orb, it's like the ancient times, and then I got it from this guy. He was pretty cool. He was like, "Hey, I'll sell you this only 40 gold, and you can have this once in a lifetime relic." And I was like, "Okay." And well, I wasn't gonna pass it up, you know. So I just figured that would be kind of like a really cool thing. But if you guys don't mind me just taking this one as well, then I could add to my collection.
I,
I need some air. Reese is gonna step out of the tent.
I okay.
Are you taking the pendant and potion bottle with you, or are you just leaving them over
I'm
here?
leaving the potion bottle. I'm gonna take the pendant with me.
The potion bottle you see has been picked up and is now floating in the air.
I,
Yeah,
you know,
Reese, you can step out of the tent. You hear Felix's voice still chatting, constant stream of chatter as the tent flap swings closed. But it is a nice reprieve from the constant noise as you step out into the still loud and bustling merchant square, but less chatty.
So yeah, so pretty much basically, is that okay or not?
All right.
I'll pay you back, I promise. As soon as I go I find Bart.
Well, considering this isn't exactly our shop, we'll put it on the
I
tab,
thought he
okay?
just said it was your shop. The guy
No,
who just left.
it's a shop of someone that we knew that might or may not be related to us, but
Oh,
we'll
so
put it
he
on a
can
tab,
probably
okay?
let. Okay, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
All right.
I'm gonna book it.
All right. Now, who did you say earlier gave you that orb?
Oh, this guy. I don't really remember his name. It was a couple years ago.
Well, didn't you say it was Brett?
Bart? No, that's who I need to get the money from. But he's probably gonna he could probably loan me some. I guess this is a
Bart.
good time to mention that he is about 15.
I.
The
Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh. Oh.
Uh,
Okay then.
Kai is going to follow. Is it Reese outside?
Reese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
So
you
he's
do you
step
gonna
know
say,
inside. Oh, go for
so
it.
do you like know where we are or like something? Because last I remember we were in like the alchemy shop um down on 4th Street, and this doesn't look anything like the alchemy shop.
Well, where we are, and as I start talking a little bit about at least the shop and the market town that we're in right now, I'm slowly walking out to the front where everyone
And I make a potion of teleportation? This is the craziest day in the world. And I'm gonna start following you out into the shop. The shop.
like any
So you're
questions you would ask about it, I'm not explaining it. I'm just explaining the very basics.
so Treos, as you're backing out of the shop.
Yeah.
You ramble on and on talking about this store, who owns it, the merchant square. At some point, you do mention that you are in Selgant, the town. Still backing slowly out of the tent. So that, and as you
Selbot.
back out of the tent, Felix follows. But you see Kai and Reese standing there quietly,
Well,
just, and they both look over at you as you step out.
let's say, well, we have a little bit of a reprieve. I'm gonna turn to Kai and be like, "We never introduced ourselves. I'm Reese. Sorry.
"Hi."
Oh.
Um, let me look at the necklace again.
I'll pull it out of my pocket and keep it on the cloth. I don't know if I
I won't touch
touch
it.
it, but yeah,
It This fell off of him.
yeah. When he got grabbed by the guards, it rolled a little bit.
Something feel wrong about this to you? I don't know anything, but something feels wrong.
Would I have any knowledge of the history of this town? I know that Kai asked earlier, but like, would I have knowledge of something like this happening before or wrongful accusations happening in a town like this? Like, I assume it's not a frequent occurrence.
It's not. This all For all intents and purposes, Selgon is as close to a small suburban utopia as towns can get in this world. Um, about 2 days ride from the Gilded Gates and the capital, and then in the other direction, a couple days rides from Mulhassan, which is where the major advancement guilds, the colleges, things like that are. It's not a a it's not a metropolis, but it does field a lot of merchants and ocean faring merchants and trading towards the rest of the hills and the less populated areas of Zambia. You don't know of any other kidnappings or disappearances that seem to be famous or iconic or relatively frequent in the area. There's the usual crime. There's the highwaymen, the robbers, but this particular case is the case of a young girl going missing out of her bed in the middle of the night, and that doesn't ring any bells.
My next question is, would I have any knowledge of where they would take and hold prisoners in this town?
Sure. There is a singular guard's house, and it
Perfect.
is a couple blocks down, right next to the local meadery, the local brewery, which competes with the local meadery, um, and a couple blocks from the tavern where you would be staying at the moment, or might be if you're staying over the night. Um, yeah, you would know exactly where they're taking him, if that's where they're taking him.
I'm gonna turn to Kai and be like, it doesn't feel right, but we could at least find out some more information. I think I know where they might take him.
And what do you want to do there? You think they're going to let us talk to him?
I have a hunch they might.
At this point, the tent flap flips open and you hear, yeah, and I mean the town of Sembia where their major trading is, or the town of Selgar where their major trading is, as Treos backs away from Felix as both of them step out of the tent one after another.
I'm gonna go, and then that. Well, okay. So you're saying what? So you're saying we're in a place called? So I've never heard of that before. But and the his eyes are gonna flash over to you. You're holding up the necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see like a flash of like an almost like it looks like water flowing through his eyes for like a brief moment. As detect magic is innately casted. Um, anything there?
Remind me what I can tell you with detect magic.
Um, it's I get if
You're
it's
gonna make me
magical
tell you the
A.
type of spell, aren't you?
I get the type of magic. Yeah, I get the school of magic.
Damn yous. Um, so the small pendant, it seems to, with your detect magic on, glow a slight swirling mosaic of all the different colors of the rainbow. You notice that it is not one of the typical schools of magic coming off of this. In fact, it's a type of magic that you, with your slightly academic background, have heard of, but you have never seen chaos magic in person before.
That is the coolest thing that you've ever. Is that yours?
Um, yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna
That's
wrap it up in the
crazy.
cloth and put it in my pocket.
I've never seen something so strong with chaos magic before. Well, I've actually never seen chaos magic before. One time I read about it. I think it was a book called Chaos Magic in You. But I didn't actually get to like see it. So that's so cool. I've never seen that before. Can I just take a quick look? I promise I won't hurt it or anything.
I wouldn't touch it, but you
Okay.
can look
Well,
at
I've
it.
got gloves on, so is that fine?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's weird. I could do this, and you see a third hand come shooting from around his back as a mage hand comes. What about him? Can he hold it?
I prefer if you just didn't hold or touch it at all.
So I guess this is one of those things that's important to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did your dad give it to you?
That's a family heirloom. Yeah.
That's cool. My dad, he works a lot. But he's pretty cool. He does like all these different types of like learning stuff.
Hey, why don't we walk and talk? And I'll tell you,
Okay, where are we
I'll
walking
tell
to?
you, just follow us. I'll tell you how you got here. How about that?
Sure. Okay, how did I get here?
And so I'm going to start walking towards the guard shack, explaining to Felix about how I stopped in his shop and his boss gave me the potion bottle for really cheap because he didn't know what it was.
That makes sense. You met Bart.
Yeah.
How that's great. That's great. So like, what do you think of him? Because I think he's pretty cool. But I know that he can be a little quiet sometimes, and he always tells me you got to keep your mouth shut when customers are around. But I'm like, I don't want to keep my mouth shut when customers are around. So sometimes I go into the bottle and I just kind of like I do my experimenting there, and that's when I decide to mix these two ingredients that I found in the upstairs attic, and I was like, oh, that could be a fun little thing to do. And so I put it in the all together, and I guess it teleported me here.
As Felix is rambling, and you're explaining to Felix the journey of his potion bottle from Bart's shop all the way to Selgant, um, you make your way through the merchant square. The sun, which was high in the sky back when you were originally wandering down, has lowered. You see it barely touching the horizon of the rolling hills in the distance. Um, at this point, the square is still bustling, but as you step further into the streets of Selgant, it gets quieter. Is everyone following with Reese?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So you make your way through these houses. What was in the main area, large, tall stone buildings, turns into more quaint little wooden cottages every couple of feet. Um, it's quiet, except for the soft echo of Felix's voice as it rings out through the empty streets. The four of you, you make your way down. At some point, cutting this way and then that way. Um, I would like everyone to roll a perception check for me. Felix, what'd you get?
I got a 17.
Nice. Nice. Treos?
21.
Damn. Okay. Reese?
7.
Okay. And Kai?
21.
All right. Reese, you are just so sick of the constant chatter of Felix. At this point, you've closed your eyes and you just want it to stop. You make your way. You know these streets relatively well, but also you're kind of running off of memory of how you made your way towards the square this morning. Treos and Kai, you, as Reese turns down what seems to be a smaller alleyway where two large buildings tower up on either side of you, you hear the soft echo of footsteps. You stop. The footsteps stop. You start up again. The footsteps start up again. You don't see anyone. Not in the immediate area, but the footsteps seem to be following you, especially as you turn into this small alleyway. At which point, who is walking first?
I assume Reese is leading us.
So then
All
it'd
right.
be Reese followed by Felix, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
This
I'll be in the
point-
rear.
You'll be in the rear? Okay.
Mhm.
So, Reese, as you make it to the end of the alleyway, you go to turn right to head straight towards the guard's shack, and as you turn the blind corner, you feel a force push you up against the wall, and you feel the cold bite of a dagger at your neck, and a soft voice go, "Where's the necklace?" And at that point, we are going to take our break.
Yeah.